Hello and welcome to a new video. It's me, Martin, and today in this video I'm going to be looking at how I go about teaching trial lessons to students that I don't know, who haven't really communicated with me since booking a lesson, and the sort of PowerPoint that I use now because I've updated it for 25-minute trial lessons. I'm going to go and talk through what I've prepared with this new PowerPoint and slides that I use for my lessons. If these students haven't really communicated with me, then what I'm going to be doing is assessing their level during the trial lesson and then choosing a demo lesson as a sort of a taster for them and then responding to what they say. But let's have a look at the slides that I've created for future trial lessons, 25-minute trial lessons. And if you're a member of the community, if you're a member of the channel, you'll be able to download this as well. And just a quick pointer, we have 6 members on this channel. I'm hoping to reach to 10 members. It would be great if we can get 10. And yeah, show your support. Feel free to join. We have a small community here, but if you want to join the open community, you can join us on Discord. We have about 150 members and you know, on the Discord. So yeah, feel free to join there as well. Anyway, let's dive in and I'll show you what I've created for the PowerPoint slides. So first of all, what I do is obviously with the PowerPoint slides, I look at lesson aims. Oh, it's in bold, all capitalized, let's say. Lesson aims, there we go. So obviously with the student, I'm going to be looking at getting to know them. That's really important. Developing that rapport, giving them a short demo lesson, so a sort of taste of how I teach, whether they like it, the aims for their English, what do they want to achieve with their English, and then our next lesson, so what's the goal, what's the next steps, and then a chance for questions for the student. So I haven't really changed anything, but essentially I've just added a few things for the demo lesson depending on the student's ability, so it kind of covers me. So first of all, getting to know you. I've kept it quite simple, so for me as a teacher I want to get to know the student and then the other way around. So I'm going to ask them some very simple questions. You know, what do you do, where are you from, what do you like to do in your free time, how long have you been studying English. What I'm going to be doing whilst the student's answering is the student using a variety of different grammar, or do they use short answers? You know, what do you do? I'm a doctor, or something like that. Or what do you do? Well, I work at a hospital, I'm a doctor, I've been a doctor for X amount of years. If the student is able to extend the answer, then I'm going to be, you know, guessing they're going to be higher level, whereas, you know, students that are lower level have a tendency just to say one-word answers or very short sentences. Again, I'm just going to be listening to their answers based on these questions. And then the next step, of course, is getting the student to ask me questions. And here we have, you know, what I've created is a student to create, you know, question forms based on different prompts. So where you from? It's like, where are you from? How long you teach English? How long have you been teaching English? Again, I'm just getting an idea whether the student, a potential student, is able to create question forms, and it kind of develops that rapport as well, because the student can then be prompted to ask further questions. So don't feel constrained to just these questions as well. Now, again, I've broken the demo lesson into 3 different levels, either elementary, intermediate or advanced. So elementary, it could be elementary, pre-intermediate, I suppose. Here, for the elementary demo lesson, I kind of went for a very simple thing. So weekly schedule, Monday to Sunday, plans for next week. What are your plans for next week? And you can give the student a chance to make notes. They can get a notebook and write down in their notebook their own answers, their own ideas, pen and paper preferably. That's my personal preference when it comes down to teaching. I prefer students to use pen and paper. The next thing, of course, is using be going to. So this weekend I'm going to visit my friend. Tomorrow we are going to have a picnic in the park. So again, I'm just going to get the student to use be going to for future forms. But, see how they do with the first step, their plans for next weekend. Then, again, we look at the grammar just to consolidate everything that we've looked at. Again, getting them to use a variety of structures, be going to, plus different verbs to be prompted. And then finally, getting them to refer to their plans for next week or what have you, for the student to personalize their own answers. So that's a few thoughts that I've had for an elementary lesson. There's more than enough to cover 10 minutes for this, So for the get to know you activity, I'm guessing around 10 minutes because I want to give feedback on this, then 10 minutes for the demo lesson, and I want to give feedback on that. The intermediate demo lesson, again, I went for something, which is geared for maybe intermediate, upper intermediate students. And again, I kept with this activity, which can be used for exam preparation classes or general conversation classes. So here it's about kindness, and I've got some pictures for the students to look at and a couple of questions. The next step, of course, is giving them feedback, some speaking feedback, and then finally getting them to assume or trying to guess these particular words in bold and their meanings in the context of the questions, and then a chance for a discussion with the student. Again, trying to do communicative activities with the students so that they're able to get some feedback and improve their fluency, and they get a taster of what your lessons are really about. The final demo lesson that I've prepared for advanced students, so this could be advanced to proficient C1, C2 level students. Again, I've sourced a range of pictures here from Lingua House. Again, if you don't know Lingua House, it's a great website for materials and for lessons. And the lesson itself on Lingua House is about nostalgic toys, toys from the 1990s. Got some conversation questions, seeing whether the student is able to look at the particular images from the, see if they're able to recognize any of the toys from the 1990s. I can't tell you, although I was brought up in the 1990s, of course, I was late 70s boy, but in the 90s, I recognise these toys, don't recognise the top right one, I guess Barbie house, I'm not entirely sure, but here we got some questions, about toys and whether the student would recognise them. And then I've added this question: if you could buy one toy from the 1990s or the 90s, what would that be? And this is where the focus is with the advanced lesson, because again, I'm going to give them feedback, but then I'm going to be inverting the sentences, so giving advanced students an opportunity to learn something new, because maybe they've learnt the second conditional, but they haven't really learnt about inverted conditional forms. So here I give an example of: if I went to Japan, I would eat sushi, but you can invert it. So were I go to Japan, I would eat sushi. If I were to buy a toy from the 90s, I would buy a Tamagotchi. were I to buy a toy from the 90s, it would be a Tamagotchi. So getting them to be aware of converting standard second conditional forms into inverted second conditional forms. And the next step is, trying to invert these particular sentences from conditionals, giving them some more practice to consolidate what's included. So that's essentially it. The advanced demo lesson, the intermediate demo lesson, and the elementary demo lesson. Those are the 3 different topics that I've looked at. Obviously, I want to end in 5 minutes, so we've got 10 minutes. 10 minutes getting to know you, 10 minutes demo lesson, 5 minutes call to action, course focus. So about the course, what are your aims? How long, how often would you like to have lessons in a week? How long would you like to have lessons for? What would you like to focus on in our next lesson? And this gives the opportunity for the student to share what they want to achieve with their English, as well as also giving them a sense of purpose, direction, and they can choose what they want to try and achieve with their English, what they want to include in their next lesson. So negotiating with the student in that sense, and then any questions, and then we're done. So that's essentially it. That's what I would include in my 25-minute first lesson for online students. And obviously it gives an opportunity for students to get a taste of what lessons could be like. Again, if you're a channel member, then you can download this PowerPoint. I'll be sharing it in the community post for members only. So feel free to join and download the PowerPoint and use it for your own online first lessons. And side note, just one thing, when you're setting it up, if you're teaching online, I like to, it's usually presented by a speaker full window, but presented by an individual window. If you click OK, you then have a whole slide, and you can adjust the size of the slide to make it fit that window, so it doesn't take up the whole screen on the monitor. It just takes up an individual window, and you can share that particular window with the student whilst you're teaching your trial lesson. Thanks ever so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit the thumbs up and hit subscribe if you haven't already. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer any queries that you may have, and if you've got any suggestions about future videos, let me know as well. I'll be happy to cover a range of different topics in a future video. But yeah, thank you ever so much. Take care, stay safe, and happy teaching. Bye bye.